for the National Food Suppliers Association. And Mr. Amedume, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning here on the show. From where you sit, what is this situation that we have on our hands with regard to the droughts in the northern region? What is it looking like for you?
Thank you very much. Good morning to your good self and to your listeners out there. Yes, indeed, it's actually a threat to food security. And a threat to security is a threat. A threat to food security is a threat to the nation. And this has affected the supply of food items, essentially for we, the suppliers. Indeed, as you are aware, we have serious issues with the kind of food we eat, the kind of fertilizers we apply on our farmland, and it has resulted to degradation of our farmland. And as a result, for instance, maize and beans has not come in abundance as the case it has always been. And so we have complained to the Ministry of Agriculture about the situation at hand. And if you would notice, if you go to it's not only in the northern region, it's cut across all the farming communities in Ghana. And it has affected a lot of farmland. So we are unable to even meet our demands. Demands in terms of the food we procure from the farmland to the buffer stock and the Ghana Commodity Exchange. And let me also bring to your notice and to the notice of the viewers that Ghana faces a food security threat because as it is now, even getting the foodstuffs from the farm is a problem because the prices of the foodstuffs are not affordable. And then even as they are affordable, even as we are able to raise some funds to go and procure, we are not able to get the food to get to the urban centers. And it is really a problem that government has to come in by way of fertilizer, by way of helping the farmers, by way of reducing their burden, so we can also be able to do our work.
A number of measures has been announced by the government, including a ban on the exportation of foodstuffs outside of the country. What, as in Food Suppliers Association, what is your position on that?
It's really a problem because I should think that before any government will decide to place a ban on importation of food items, there should be some measure to increase the production of those food items in our local markets or in our local farms. Here we have in our hand, farmers are suffering from funding to support their own farming activities. Government has locked up funding for the food suppliers to be able to pay the farmers so that the farmers can continue their work. And we expect that if government wants to, or government intends to ban those things, government should put in measure to support massive production and massive farming. But that is not happening. My brother, if you go to most of this farmland, the kind of even chemicals, I won't call it fertilizers, the kind of chemicals that are applied on our farmlands, it's very, very dangerous. Most of the farmers, they use before they use these chemicals, and in application of these chemicals, most of them have nose masks. They have gloves. They wear gloves and shin guards before they apply those fertilizers on the farmlands. And the question is, vegetables. If you're applying vegetables and if you're applying fertilizers on vegetables, and you have to put on all those things before you apply them, it means that the things that you call fertilizers that you're applying are toxic. In other words, they are poisonous. Most of these vegetables, we do not process them on fire before we eat. We eat them raw like that. And so if the things we're applying them on the farmlands are that toxic, it means that whatever we are eating in our system is poisonous. And so the only thing I can advise government on is, before they would want to put a ban on any of these food items, they should put in measures that could enable farmers to increase their yields in the farmlands. They should also help subsidize those who are engaged in organic fertilizers. Without those measures, without any measure to increase productions on the farmlands, and they go ahead to put a ban or to place a ban on the food items, it means that the drought is going to be as severe as we should expect.
So, with some of the measures that the government has already announced, for example, supporting some of the farmers, we know that they released, or they say some 8 billion cedis is going to be spent. They are going to be given some of the farmers who have been badly affected, say 1,000 Ghana cedis per hectare, among other things. Do you believe that these proposals and solutions announced by governments addresses these concerns that you have?
Any amount that the government will want to give to farmers to support their farming activity would, one way or the other, help to reduce their cost burden. But 1,000 Ghana to a farmer, I would say, is not enough, because for a farmer to be able to be able to plow 1 acre of farm, the farmer needs not less than 3,000 cedis. Because if you take all the fertilizers in the market, urea, the NPKs, and all the other fertilizers that are currently in our market, the prices are so high, you need about 4,200 to be able to get even a bag, and then a bag of NPK and urea for an acre of land. And you don't only need that to finish the entire farming season. You need about the triple of that to be able to finish the farming season. So if the government is giving them 1,000 cedis, I'll say yes, it's a good step, but it is not enough, given their conditions now, given the situations of the farmland now. And let me also hasten to add that even our farmlands are no longer the nutritional values of our farmland is reduced because of the chemicals that we apply on this plant. So apart from giving them this 1,000 seeds, there should be a way of adopting a modern system of farming so that we can revamp our farmlands. If we take, for instance, places that are engaging, communities that are engaged in mining, illegal mining, those farmlands are affected drastically, and they cannot be able to use those farmlands for farming. And so the government should also be focusing on how they can also help those farmers to revamp those lands so that increase in yield can be assured. But just giving a farmer 1,000 cedis will not help. Government should also put a ban on the importation of those poisonous or toxic fertilizers. In fact, those toxic fertilizers are not favorable to the farming communities. They are not favorable to our health conditions. You realize that these days, even when you go to market to buy tomatoes or any of these vegetables and you put them in your fridge, it doesn't take 2 days, 3 days. Those things start deteriorating. So it tells you the kind of chemicals that are used on those farm produce are not conducive and are not environmentally friendly. And so government should not only focus on giving 1,000 cedis, government should also focus on how to supervise these farmers and how to supervise the importation or put a ban on the importation of fertilizers that are harmful to our farmlands, that are also harmful to the farm produce. And if we fail to do all that and we are only giving money to farmers, I bet to say that we might not achieve enough results as we expect.
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Um, Amedume, for speaking to us this morning here on the Morning Star. We're grateful.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And you've now heard us speak to Kweku Amedume, who is spokesperson for the National Food Suppliers Association. Earlier, we spoke to Patrick Ifa, who is the General Secretary of those who supply food to the schools from the buffer stock. And then now we've spoken to Kweku Amedume, who is also spokesperson for those who are also getting the food from the farm gate directly, supplying to the buffer stock. Would want to find out, in all of this, right, we're talking about a drought. It's got to do with the weather. And we have the Ghana Meteorological Agency that usually, does all of this research and be able to predict what the weather patterns are going to look like. So in all of this, the drought in the northern region, does it look like it's clearing anytime soon? Let's get onto the phone line now, and we're going to speak to Mr. Joseph Tete Portufi. He's Deputy Director in charge of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on the Morning Star.
Thank you for having me.
And we're grateful to you. This drought that has been in the northern part of the country, and we know that a lot of their farming is dependent on rainfall patterns. Is it something that was predicted? Is this something that we saw coming?
Yes, very well. In May, when we did the forecasting for the northern sectors, normally because they have a mono or single rainfall, we normally separate them and they start late. So we do the forest area, the middle belt, and then the coastal area first. That was done around February. Then by May, we did the northern sectors seasonal forecast. And in the seasonal forecast, yes, we predicted that there will be dry spells for 28 days over the northern sectors. That will start from middle of July to all the way to August. And then what we saw was that instead of the 28 days, it went to 32 or 33 days. So yes, we saw it and we predicted it. And we told the Ministry of Agric and their extension officers. We went around to the field itself to meet the extension officers and some of the farmers and then explain the forecast and the implications of the forecast to them.
And was this well before some of them even did their planting of their crops and what have you?
Oh yes, in the northern sectors, they normally don't start before May because the rain will start there from May, June, and then going to July. And when it starts, it will end around October. Then November we get into the harmattan season because the wind direction will also change. So yes, we way before they started doing the agronomy on the land.
But what is causing this? Well, what is causing this this situation of drought? When you were doing the research to predict that there will be no rain for the 28 days, and of course it happened, what did you find out to be the reason why?
Yeah, some of the parameters we used is the sea surface temperature. And what we realized was that the sea surface temperature has not reached the maximum threshold. Because when it reaches the maximum threshold, at a certain level, yes, moisture will be coming in, and the wind will blow the moisture to the northern side of the country, and then they will get a lot of rain. But if it is very low, then definitely you are not going to get a lot of moisture from the ocean. And when moisture is not coming from the ocean, no clouds will be formed, and then no rain. So we saw all those and realized that no, this year for the northern sectors, they will have a very long dry spell, and that is what happened. And unfortunately, it affected, I think, the western north, the western sectors of the north. The eastern sectors, yes, they have some rains.
Is this in any way related to climate change or the global warming that we're experiencing? That has also reached us here and is causing, I mean, the sea temperatures not to rise and all of that.
Yes, I would say yes and no. Yes, yes, because yes, climate change is real, and one of the effects of the climate change is the predictability. It makes our work also very, very difficult. But I will also not say in reality because we've not gathered all the data now yet to look at it. Because if we say there's a climate change, then there's a pattern for about 30 years, above 30 years, then we can say yes, there is a change. If there's no pattern in it, then what we can say is that it's the climate variability that has also caused this scientifically.
So what is our climate looking like in terms of those variabilities this year especially? I mean, what is it looking like? Or are we even being affected or gradually seeing any, changes in our climate in these parts? Because some would say that some of the rainfall patterns are quite unusual these days as compared to, say, 10 years ago or, say, 15 years ago.
You are very, very true. And that is what I'm saying. When there's a variability, you have when you're expecting a lot of rainfall, it might not come. You have drought. When you're expecting drought, if you just take time, you get a lot of rainfall. So there is all is due to the climate change. And yes, we are able to do the simulations and with some of the parameters. Yeah, we can talk about the reasons why the rains are not coming as we expected. And if, as I said, the sea has been cooler and cooler, the sea surface temperature has been very abysmal, then definitely there will be variability in the system. And that is what we are expecting.
So moving forward, what is the weather going to look like for the hard hit areas as regards this drought? Is it going to improve? Will rains come? What is going to happen?
Oh yes, I think fortunately 3 days today, and there was heavy rainfall across the northern sectors of the country, and we are expecting since we believe that the dry spell has ended, and once it has ended, the sea surface temperature has also picked up. So if they pick up very well, then there will be a lot of rains in those areas. But yes, what they can do. In fact, when you look at the seasonal forecast that we issued, we even put a footnote and specify some of the crops that they can grow with their advice from the extension officers. If they are able to grow some crops that can, when they germinate a little legume settings, that can withstand a little drought. Yes, if they are able to do those ones. But when you cultivate maize and then you have 1-2 rain, and then for the next 30 days, no rain, definitely the maize will wither and died off. If you reach flowering stage and there is no rain, definitely it will not do anything. So yes, we are expecting that the situation might improve because we've come out with the how do you call it, the minor seasonal forecast. I just got to the office yesterday and I'm now studying it and look at it. If you call it, I could have just look at the minor, but I can send it to you for you also to have
right.
a feel of it if you wish. Yeah.
Right. But then you're sure that some rains will definitely come down for the minor rainy season, and so those who still have their crops there which may need some water, they may be getting some water to enable their crops to grow.
Yes, some of them can still do some replanting, and then let's look at, because we are not out of in the northern sector after the rainy season yet. As I said, it will be asked by September ending, getting to October, then the wind direction changes, then the dry wind sets in, then everything is off for the northern sector. But for the middle belt and the coastal areas, if you could remember, from later part of July up to now, there was no rain.
Yeah.
Because, yes, we have
the weather has just been cool, but it hasn't been rain.
Yeah, because the sea surface temperature, as I said, cannot produce anything for us. So then what we call the intertropical boundary has also moved beyond the borders of Ghana. The intertropical boundary is simply where we have the moisture wind from the coast, from the Guinea coast, and then the dry wind from the Sahel region meeting. So whenever they are meeting, those winds are meeting, I think 2 degrees north of them, you should have some rains. But when it is beyond the 2 degrees, then it means the rain you will not get anything at all. It means you have the dry winds coming in. So we are expecting that, yes, by September going very well, and we will enter into the minor rainy season, and some areas will have above normal. When I read yesterday, I realized that some areas will have some above normal. When I say above normal, it's simply when you compare 5 years or 6 years or 10 years rainfall, yeah, they will have a rainfall above those dates or those years. If you say below normal, then comparing for 5 years, yes, the rainfall that they will get will be below. If you say normal, yes, then you will get the average normal rainfall that they have been getting. But I have the data there. I can quickly forward you. Then you can educate the public on it.
Definitely.
I'll be very glad.
Definitely. I would like to have that. I'm grateful that you've spoken to us this morning here on the Morning Star. So grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for to you and your listeners also.
All right. Thank you. We've spoken to, of course, you've just heard us speak to Dr. Joseph, Mr. Joseph Tete Potofi. He's Deputy Director in charge of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And of course, when he does forward that document, of course, we'll peruse it and share it with you, our dear listener out there. Later on, we'll be speaking to Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. There are some concerns that the NDC have been raising about the voters register, and I've told you about those concerns. I took you to Dr. Edward Omanebuame's Facebook page where he raised some of these concerns about the voters register, and they believe that there needs to be an audit of it and the right measures need to be put in place. We want to understand exactly how the NDC is coming by all of this, how widespread they have observed that it is, as regards the limited voter registration. It's actually the voter exhibition exercise. Yeah, so as regards the observing of the voters exhibition exercise, what are the things that they have seen that has enabled them to arrive at these conclusions? We want to talk to the NDC and find out what some of those concerns are. Get back to the phone lines, and we are switching our attention, obviously, from the issues of the drought in the northern region, and we're focusing on the NDC, as I've just been telling you. And like I said, the NDC are raising some concerns about the voters register as observed in the voter exhibition exercise. So Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us here. The NDC, you have some concerns about the voters register. What are those concerns?
In fact, there are serious concerns which border on the integrity of the whole register. That needs serious audit. In fact, forensic audit of it. We know they've given us the TVR, that is the provisional voter register. After intense tracks that we had to issue before they gave us the register on the 19th. We took time to study the register and then as well as deploy our party agents across to also observe the exhibited register by the East. My brother, we have uncovered 5 major discrepancies that has rendered the register ineffective for any serious election. 5 major serious discrepancies in the register. And because of that, we've written to the Electoral Commission seeking for an urgent emergency meeting so that we can discuss this one and they will restore all these discrepancies, resolve them before we can get to September polls. Because without them being resolved, the register cannot be used for any purpose.
So what are the discrepancies specifically that you observed? You said five major discrepancies.
Five,
What are
five.
they?
In fact, we put them in heading. When I say five, it means every heading has its own problem. For instance, registered voters whose names are missing completely. People have gone to register, they've registered in 2020, 2023, 2024, mop up, and yet their names could not be found in the register. This one came to head because most people have gone to the polling stations to check their names. What of those who haven't checked their names? So you are voting on an ID card, you are not sure your name is in the register. That is the situation we have found out. We have good number of people who have gone, their names are not there. Thank God for them, they can fill in what we call the inclusion form. Because you are there. You have identified that my name is not there, so you fill the inclusion form for that name to be restored. What of those who are not there? We have identified others, although they have not come to check. But we know them, they are registered with us, but their names are not in the register. Two, we have qualified people who are qualified registered voters. There is no problem with our registration, but their names have been found in the exception list or multiple registered list. That is not correct. As soon as your name is in the exception list, it means you are not qualified to vote. You are either a dead person or your registration was challenged and your challenge was held. And so that's why your name is in the exception list. But in the case, those names were found in the exception list. None of them went through any challenge. Nobody challenged them. They are qualified voters. So how come their names are, and they are not dead people too? Three, people who are disqualified during the challenge process, they challenged them, they were disqualified, their names are not supposed to be in the main register. Their names are supposed to be in the exception list. But we have found out that their names are still in the main register. What is it doing? What are they doing there? Four, people who have been transferred without their knowledge, in addition to old transfers that are still appearing on the register. What is that? What kind of IT system are they running? They transferred people illegally without their knowledge. They just sat down, somebody sat down somewhere and decided that these people, I want to remove their name from this register and put it in another register. I'll give you an example. Look at what happened in Tamale. I'm sure your reporters covered the press conference of the Northern Regional Executive about the illegal transfer of 32 people from Tamale all the way to Kusita without their knowledge. And we've also uncovered that the old transfers of 2020 are still apparent in this current register. It doesn't make sense.
So with these, and number five?
The number five, they have just moved people. They have moved people completely from one polling station to another. This one, they were not calling them transfer. It's like mass movement of people. So you're holding your ID card. You think that you are voting in one polling station. They have moved you, they will just pick you and move you to another place that you don't do it.
Right. So with these discrepancies, in how many areas or how many polling stations were these observations made?
It's across all the 16 regions. They are there. All the 16 regions. It's not even peculiar to one. All the 16 regions.
All the 16 regions. Are there a specific number of polling stations? I mean, was it recorded in every single polling station?
You see, I'm giving you heading. I'm saying that the right forum for them to do this is the Electoral Commission. Because you want to know what are the issues, and I'm giving you this. But the details we will discuss it with the Electoral Commission. That's where they are supposed to involve.
Yeah, but given the large volumes of data that the EC is dealing with, couldn't these be genuine mistakes on the part of the EC? Or do you smell some foul play or something else untoward happening?
This cannot be a genuine mistake.
What makes you think so?
Look, in the electoral processes, we don't have mistakes, so we don't have errors. Errors are meant to rig elections. If you catch them, they will discard us as errors. If you don't catch them, it passes. That's the rule of election. We have been in this game for a very long time. There's no error in election. Anytime you see error, be very suspicious. something sinister is cooking somewhere. So if you don't nip it in the bud, it passes. It won't stop. You saw that thing they were changing results for 2020 and changing. Didn't it pass? You saw what was sitting as the president. Do you need to declare 3 different results to make the president? Do you need that? Why haven't they gazetted the 2020? Ask them. Have you ever seen the gazetted results of 2020? Presidential results. Have you ever seen it? We are in the country called Ghana, and yet we are not interested in that. We won't take anything from them as error. It's a deliberate error meant to break elections, and they must correct it.
So, I mean, okay, you said they must correct it. So, you said you are going to meet the EC. Has the EC agreed to meet you on these issues that you've raised?
We sent the letter on Monday. They acknowledged receipt of the letter on Monday. We are waiting for their response.
Okay, very well. Thank you for speaking to us this morning here on the Morning Star. We're grateful. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, and they've been raising some concerns about the electoral roll and some discrepancies. And I mentioned to you earlier that this also found space on Dr. Mani Boame's Facebook page, and they've written to the EC, like he said, and they want the EC to deal with these situations. They believe that it's deliberate. We'll try and work our lines and see if we can get to the Electoral Commission and get a reaction from them as regards this particular subject matter as well. And of course, as and when we have that, here at the Morning Star, we'll definitely bring it to you.